Hello everybody and welcome back again to another video. This video is about my thoughts about the ATP Masters in Cincinnati so far and a little preview of the final that's gonna play later this evening. And we just saw Daniil Medvedev win against Novak Djokovic in a three-set battle where Daniil Medvedev was the strongest guy in the end. He was more clutch. And both of them won equally 75 points. But Daniil Medvedev stepped up and played some amazing tennis because the first set belonged to Novak Djokovic and he played like only he can do. When he's basically a wall, it doesn't matter how you play or what you do, you get everything back on your court side. And eventually you make those mistakes, and Novak took advantage of that and won the first set. And the second and first set was interesting too. It was a tough, tight battle, but Medvedev managed to be more clutch in the biggest points and finally won against Novak Djokovic. I think that this is his first victory in 4 meetings, and he has previously lost earlier this year against Novak in Australian Open, where I think he took 1 set from Novak. So Novak had the chance to complete his ATP Masters career slam for the second time. He could have done that if he won against Medvedev and in the final. So he's so far the only guy that has won all the Masters, and he was very close of doing this again, but Medvedev stood in his way. And if you look at Medvedev's playing style, it's very hard to put a finger on because he plays flat and low. He doesn't give you so much angles to work with. And that's very difficult for his opponent because he can send from the baseline and duel for 5-10 minutes. Not 10 minutes, but a long time. And he's very solid. His ground stroke are heavy and he has quality as a complete baseliner. He lacks of a little weapon, but he's hard to beat from the baseline. And we saw that today because when he plays, he can make you do mistakes without you know why you did that. You don't understand how did I make these mistakes, because when he works with his backhand and forehand in his movement, he gives this flat and low bounces, and it's hard for you as a player. In the end, you make mistakes with that when you play against him because he's rock solid. He's a lighter version of Novak Djokovic in that area, but this year he has finally took a big step into the top 10. He played a very good fall season last year, and this is his third consecutive final, so he's starting to get more and more consistent, and this is his second Masters final. He lost, as you know, in Toronto against Rafael Nadal, where Nadal basically trashed him with 6-3 and gave him a bagel in the last set. So he has a very big opportunity now to win his first Masters. And since his coach, this great Swede Thomas Johansson, who is the last Swede to win a Grand Slam titles in single, he won in Australian Open in 2002, and since he was included in Medvedev's training staff, Medvedev starting to play more and more consistent. I don't know what Thomas Johansson have done exactly, but he has done some great work with Daniil Medvedev, and he looks so solid from the court, and he's one of the few next-gen players this year that has played superb the whole year, because he had an early exit in Australian Open, and then he played a couple of tournaments where he was good, and he lost to his opponent in the final, David Goffin in Wimbledon. He took one set. I'm sorry, it was Goffin who took one set from Nadal. He played okay the whole year, and he has already won 4 titles, and this can be his 5th and biggest title in his career. So the expectations are high on Medvedev, and will he win his first Masters? That we will see, because he's gonna meet David Goffin, the little magician, the solid base striker. If Medvedev is a light version of Novak Djokovic, Goffin reminds me of David Ferrer. Solid from the baseline, a little more technical player, a little better serve than David Ferrer. He goes deep in every tournament almost this year. Has been in the third round, I think, in French Open, where he took a set from Rafael Nadal. He reached the quarters at Wimbledon, where Novak Djokovic put Goffin in the coffin. He was totally outplayed in that match. And then before Wimbledon, he reached the final in Halle, where he lost to Roger Federer. And now he's in the final in Cincinnati, and this is his second biggest tournament final. He reached the ATP finals in 2017, where he lost against Grigor Dimitrov. And on his way to the final, he beat Roger Federer in the semifinal. And then he disappeared for a while and came back in the spring with a couple of solid tournaments. He has probably been injured. So now Goffin is here, and their head-to-head stats are 1-1 because Medvedev beat him earlier this year in Australian Open before he lost to Novak Djokovic. And he has been playing under the radar this spring, so he has gone deep in the tournaments. He has been in the quarters. He has done some great work. He has played, especially in the semifinal against Gasquet, where he played terrific tennis with good shot angles, good variation from the baseline. And now I think he has a chance to beat Medvedev, because Medvedev is the favorite. But can he play under this pressure when he feel the heat? I don't know. We have to see, because David Goffin have been many years on the tour, and he's not playing against Roger, Rafa, or Novak, so he has a pretty good chance of winning this match against Medvedev. But I hold Medvedev as the slight favorite in this favorite, not an overwhelming favorite. But if you look at Medvedev's matches in this Cincinnati tournament, you have to hold him as the favorite, because he has met a much better opponents than David Goffin. Because Dominic Thiem and Rafael Nadal withdrew from his half of the draw, and that left this draw wide open, like I told you in the preview, and I was wrong in my preview as usual. It's not easy to predict. I held Roger Federer in this tournament as a winner, but he had his earliest exit in a tournament this year, because he's 38 years old. He's not a superhuman. He can't go deep in every tournament. And I think it's amazing that he has done his first bad tournament this year, to be honest. So Roger doesn't need to bounce back. This is something that happens usually, but is this enough for him to win US Open? Probably not. And we had some early exits from many top-seeded players, and many of those underachieved, like a guy like Isner, who would have a decent chance against Novak in the second round, I think, in the third round, because he has a good serve. He likes to play on the American hard courts. It's hard to beat him, but he has been out of form for quite a while now. So, and his ranking shows that. So I don't know what's going to happen to him in US Open. We have to see. And we have Stefano Tsitsipas, who hasn't played good since the clay season. And Alexander Zverev, of course, the much hype next gen player. He's not the next gen player anymore, I think. So he's now considered as a not a veteran but a regular guy on tour. So I have to start being more consistent. And then we have Aliassime, who underachieved, and Kei Nishikori also in this tournament. So this tournament was full of surprises. And David Goffin is one of the biggest surprises. But if you look at his section of the draw, he had quite a nice draw, because, like I told you, Thiem and Nadal withdraw, and then left the draw wide open. So he had some chance to work his way into the tournament, and he's solid enough to take down guys like Gasquet, and then he got a bye from Nishikori, who gonna play in the he was gonna play against him in the quarters, but he withdrew for somehow. I think it was injured or something. That it must be something like that. I don't know the reason exact, but. So David Goffin is now in his first ATP Masters final, and he can win. He can win, but I hold Medvedev as the main favorite in this tournament. And we have seen some good tennis in this tournament, because it's a fast surface. It suits some of the artists on the courts, and Goffin is one of those players. Roger is one of those, and of course we had this Andrei Rublev, who many thought was a journeyman, but it's like this. He played probably the best match of his life against Roger Federer, and Roger Federer was not in the zone, of course. He wasn't even on the court, I think. His mind was somewhere else. And sometimes that's enough to beat these giants. And Rublev did that and lost in 2 straight sets in the following match against Medvedev. I don't know. Still, he's young and talented. He can work his way up more. And Medvedev showed that these big giants are not unbeatable on Masters and other lower ATP events. And we have seen that scenario earlier this year, but in the Grand Slam it's a total another question. So with the 7th Master of the Year ending, we can have the 6th winner, I think, because we have 5 different winners earlier. Rafa is the only one who has won 2 Masters this year. So we have Dominic Thiem, who won in Indian Wells. We have Roger Federer, who won in Miami. We have Fabio Fognini, who won in Monte Carlo, and then Novak won in Madrid, and then Rafa won the last 2 ones in Rome and Montreal. So this final, we will see another winner again for the 6th time this year, and that's very unusual. So it shows that the big 3 are not unbeatable in Masters, and they have the chance. Sooner or later, they're going to beat them on a regular basis in Grand Slams. Sooner or later. Not this year, I think. Maybe next year. It depends on the draw, of course, and how in good form these players are. But if they're still consistent, if they can take this great form and put it into the next tournament, etc., etc. So the final is going to be exciting, because we have 2 solid baseliners that doesn't make too much mistakes. So you have to be clutch in the big moments. And I think one of these sets is going to go to tiebreak. And I give my vote to Daniil Medvedev to win this. It will be good for tennis also. He's one new, young superstar, probably the best in the next generation right now. At least the most consistent if you look at this year. Alright folks, have a nice day. Thanks for watching this video. Bye bye.